Tonight, defensive investment.
Its framework is simple. Build, partner, buy.
The multi-billion-dollar federal plan with lofty economic ambitions. Plus, gouged at the grocery store.
I expect that we'll see higher beef prices sustained for a few years.
Why food costs are rising so fast compared to other sectors. And
I'm reaching out to touch the sky.
The local musician celebrating a fellow Londoner's astronomical achievement.
CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with a $6.6 billion defense strategy coming out of Ottawa. The Prime Minister calls it a buy and build initiative with the goal of awarding 70% of contracts to Canadian firms. With more on the Canada First approach and who stands to benefit, here's Geneviève Beauchemin.
Prime Minister Mark Carney says Canada has for too long relied on geography and others to protect the country, that his plan overhauls that strategy in a changing world.
It means building a domestic defense industrial base so we are never hostage to the decisions of others.
Others, including the U.S. Still, Carney insisted his strategy to arm the military and boost Canada's defense industry would be complementary, not in competition with American defense supply chains.
Its framework is simple. Build, partner, buy. First, we will build in Canada and prioritize Canadian companies.
Canadian companies now provide roughly 1/3 of this country's military needs. Carney wants 70% over the next decade, and he wants to increase defense exports by 50%.
That's real growth.
Many of Canada's defense contractors have long focused on exports. This strategy could change that, but the industry says the procurement system has to be much leaner, faster.
If it doesn't happen, it could undermine the entire strategy that we just heard about today.
Many of the details had been revealed before, and the Conservatives criticized the strategy as filled with buzzwords and promises that won't deliver.
What I expect from this government is that they're going to put aside their partisanship and reach across the table and work with us to ensure that we can deliver.
But the government says it's setting up a defense investment agency to streamline the system, a centerpiece of its strategy. CAE is the world's largest simulator provider. Half of its business is for civil use, half for defense, most of it for now exported.
We're talking about a sea change in spending and focus, and so as the government works on simplifying how to work with contractors, it only accelerates us.
But with this major overhaul of defense spending, many say that there's still some fine-tuning to be done to ensure that this strategy becomes reality. Geneviève Beauchemin, CTV News, Montreal.
The latest inflation data shows the cost of food in Canada soaring. Last month, we saw the highest food inflation rate of all G7 countries. With more on the numbers, here's Adrian Gabriel.
Putting the brakes on inflation at the pumps. Canada's annual inflation rate landed at 2.3% in January, a slight dip from 2.4% in December, with the price of gasoline driving the decline, dipping by more than 16% year over year.
Pretty good print with prices heading in the right direction.
After years of driving inflation, the cost of shelter is now actually helping keep things grounded.
Whether that's ownership costs, or we're seeing that rents overall are decelerating. I would say that big contributing factor to CPI continues to move in the right direction.
The same can't be said at the grocery store, where a 4.8% overall increase is leaving Canadians with a bitter taste. While rice, fresh vegetables, and eggs have decelerated, ground beef is up by more than 22% year over year. Nuts and seeds have spiked more than 13%, with roasted and ground coffee boiling over at more than 37%.
It's products that are affected by specific circumstances that are driving prices up.
Coffee yields, according to one economist, are being impacted by climate change. Droughts in recent years have in part led to Canadian farmers reducing their number of cattle to a near 40-year low.
Often we say when price goes up, demand goes down, and we're not very quick to stop eating beef. I expect that we'll see higher beef prices sustained for a few years.
While food costs remain a concern, overall the current rate of inflation is being pitched as a positive, even as the outlook remains murky, with so much riding on the whims of a U.S. administration and vital free trade negotiations.
Some economists believe there's a good chance that interest rates will hold when the Bank of Canada announces its next decision on March 18th, though GDP and unemployment could factor in to future rate decisions in April and June. Adrian Gobro, CTV News, Toronto.
Good evening. We started the day with some low visibility, foggy conditions across our region, followed by a bit of sunshine and some nice mild temperatures. Most of the region hitting 4 to 6 degrees this afternoon. Now, we do have a weather system coming in for your Wednesday with freezing rain and the potential for some mixed precipitation. The latest watches and warnings from Environment Canada. So fog advisories in effect this evening towards the Windsor area. Freezing rain warnings in effect in through Middlesex County, and you can see stretching right across our viewing area as we head towards Toronto. Winter storm conditions and heavy snowfall in the White. So this weather system, as I mentioned, will be moving into our area heading through the day Wednesday, but starting first thing in the morning. So this will impact the morning commute. Still quite mild across the region right now, between 4 and 5 degrees. Coming up, I'll take you through the forecast. Areas just outside of London will be hit much harder. Woodstock could see upwards of 10 millimeters of ice accretion. We'll talk about that and the potential impacts as we move through your Wednesday. Your local weather details are ahead. Carlyle.
Julie, thanks very much. One person was sent to hospital after a crash north of Seaforth this morning. Provincial police say it happened around 10 a.m. 2 vehicles were involved, injuring 3 people, one of whom had serious injuries requiring hospital treatment. Police had closed the road for several hours during their investigation. Provincial police say they've charged a man from Zora Township accused of sexually assaulting a teenager. Police say the 22-year-old man claimed to be 17 years old, luring a 14-year-old victim through social media. They say the suspect used the username FarmBoy03, and there may be other incidents involving the suspect. Police say he has been released from custody with a future court date in Goderich. A manslaughter trial began today in London against a man charged with selling deadly fentanyl-laced drugs to a woman who died. With more from the London courthouse, here's Nick Paparella.
33-year-old Jordan Colley has pled not guilty to 1 count of manslaughter and 1 count of criminal negligence causing bodily harm. In his opening address, Crown Attorney John Lee outlined his case, telling the court how Christina Bestward and her partner Daniel Gale bought drugs from the accused in May of 2023 through e-transfers, with Lee saying Ms. Bestward and Mr. Gale occasionally used cocaine. Mr. Colley was their dealer. Hours later, the couple's school-age son found them at their Wyatt Street address. He came back home from school to find his parents unconscious and unresponsive. Gale would recover in hospital. However, Bestward died, with Lee saying her cause of death was determined to be multi-drug toxicity resulting from a combination of drugs which included cocaine and fentanyl in her body. When Gale testified on the opening day about the night in question, he said, "I remember taking 2 tokes. I don't remember much after that." Lee asked Justice Mark Garson to convict the accused based on the evidence he will present, saying the Crown will submit in its closing that it does not matter whether Mr. Colley knew the drugs he sold were laced with fentanyl or not. The Crown says it will call a total of 6 witnesses, with the case expected to be wrapped up by the end of the week. Nick Paparella, CTV News.
Sarnia police say they've charged a man with manslaughter after a fatal overdose. Police say this is 35-year-old Brandy McConnell. According to police, she died in May 2024 after using fentanyl. Police say they used cell phone records to determine who supplied her the drugs, arresting a 30-year-old man, Mackenzie Kozloff, who remains in custody. A London city councillor says he wants answers from the provincial government over a decision to close a Service Ontario location in his ward. He says the site at Commissioners and Adelaide has been busy, and his ward residents don't want to see it shuttered. Brian Bicknell reports.
The owner of this York Street auto dealership says he uses the Commissioners and Adelaide location of Service Ontario every day, whether it's for new plates or ownership transfer.
There is no another place. If you go like all the way like Commissioner East and Commissioner West and always Adelaide to Hamilton, there is no place. Yeah. So I don't know what kind of decision. And always when I come here, the guys are busy.
He was among several business owners and residents expressing disappointment the Service Ontario location will be closing. Its last day, February 25th, according to a notice in the window.
I don't think it's a good idea. There's not that many of them around anymore. Yeah, they need to either have more of them or keep the ones open that have.
It was just over 2 years ago the provincial government announced that 11 Service Ontario locations across the province would be closing, moving into Staples and Walmarts with a kiosk type of format. This location at the time was not one of them.
I feel like that's a little unprofessional. It's nice to know that there's professionals behind the counter that are able to help you with your needs. At Staples, I don't think that's possible.
Ward 1 Councillor Hadley McAllister says the city was only informed of the closure a little more than a week ago. He's written to the minister in charge saying, "We're prepared to discuss concerns that have been shared and seek a better understanding on the rationale behind the closure, any mitigation strategies or other service delivery options."
I think it'd be good for the province to give some more advanced notice. We got pretty late notice in terms of this location closing, and it really throws people off in terms of the service standards. So maybe if the province could communicate a bit better, not only with municipalities, but with residents in terms of what their long-term plans with Service Ontario are.
CTV News also reached out to the ministry. It issued a statement saying, in part, in London, residents continue to be served by 5 Service Ontario centres, including 2 that offer evening and Saturday hours. Brian Bicknell, CTV News.
A council committee was deadlocked today about whether posting landlord names and phone numbers on the city's website would make rental properties better neighbors.
If you're a landlord in the city and you follow the rules already set out by this body, you should have absolutely no reason to be concerned.
People are trying to see how can they inform the property owner of what's going on to make things a little bit better.
You have to go through layers of legal work to ascertain the identity of absentee owners, and this is not conducive to a good neighborly feeling on a block.
City staff suggested there may be privacy concerns with making landlord information searchable on the city website. They also warned neighbors might take the enforcement of noise and property standards into their own hands. Currently, a computer in the City Hall lobby provides property ownership information, or residents can file a Freedom of Information request. Council will debate the issue in 2 weeks.
I can't think of any reason why we would be doing this other than to protect the anonymity of certain owners. And that is not a legitimate purpose under the law. So I'm hoping that other councillors just say, yes, let's just make it easier for people to get this information.
After 2 years of lobbying, the Hyde Park BIA is backing off plans to expand its boundaries. As Jerry Dewan reports, council support has wavered, sending officials back to the drawing board.
In the fall of 2024, the Hyde Park Business Improvement Area proposed an expansion that was seen by many as an innovative way to help support more businesses. They wanted to create nodes in adjacent neighborhoods that would fall under a broader BIA umbrella.
Creating one BIA where each node would live through the BIA and each node would have its own branding.
The idea was designed to allow neighborhoods to maintain their own identities while benefiting from BIA expertise.
Promotion events, beautification, support, advocacy.
But a letter submitted to the city's Planning and Environment Committee formally withdraws the BIA's proposal. The organization cited financial and political pressures. Spikowski says under the Municipal Act, if 1/3 of businesses oppose a new or expanded BIA, then that process can't go ahead. She says in this case, it was clear councillors were looking for a strong endorsement of the proposal. Ward 7 Councillor Corinne Rahman initially said she was encouraged by the plan. Her ward includes Hyde Park and she sits on the BIA. She now says it isn't clear whether many businesses in the expanded area understood what was being asked of them. She notes that BIAs collect a levy, which is then pooled.
I think in order for us to have a fair process, we need to ensure that we hear from the business community, and it shouldn't be by default that the recommendation comes forward. It should be because people are championing it and because they want to be part of a BIA.
Spakowski says the Ontario Business Improvement Area Association, or OBIA, is lobbying the province for changes to the Municipal Act to make the process more transparent. Rahman believes council would support such a change.
Participating in the process really means that you mail back a piece of paper to say you object to going forward. And I think that that onus is too high on a business owner.
Spakowski says the BIA is committed to reviving the node concept in the future and is confident businesses will be supportive. Jerry DeWan, CTV News.
A local municipality has been convicted for environmental issues at a landfill. A $20,000 fine has been handed down to Huron-Kinloss for 2 Environmental Protection Act violations. According to a provincial inspector, 2 unsupervised burn piles were discovered back in 2023, and a commercial waste hauler was using the landfill after hours. The court heard municipal staff gave keys to waste companies and their officials so they could use the site after hours, which goes against provincial rules. A fire broke out last night in downtown London. London fire officials posted these images on social media, saying they were called just before midnight to Dundas near Richmond. They say the fire started from a power bar under a desk, and damage is estimated at $150,000. The Thames Valley Public School Board opened its 3rd new facility this year in Woodstock today. Sean Irvin has more on the school's mid-year opening and what it means for students who no longer have to deal with a lengthy commute.
With tradespeople still applying the finishing touches to the brand new Turtle Island Public School, students enjoyed their first chance to play in the schoolyard. At a nearby corner, crossing guard Ann Muller is finishing up a busy first morning shift.
It was hectic, but I liked it. You could tell everybody was so happy, kind of like the first day of school.
And in many ways, it was. Turtle Island's debut occurred mid-year to accommodate added growth in the new North Woodstock residential subdivision that surrounds it.
It's right in the heart of the community. So now our kids who were bused in the morning for an hour and an hour after school now are walking. We only have 3 buses.
Holly Powell is the school's first principal. She tells CTV News London the student population is a merger of overflow from 3 rural schools.
It's in the middle of this neighborhood, so we hope that we can be the heart of it.
And those bus rides are much shorter than students have been used to.
It was like 30 minutes, and it used to take a lot of time, and that's why I like the school so much. That's one of the advantages. It's super close that I can walk, and it's literally just a 10 minutes walk.
The new school, built at a cost of over $30 million, will accommodate more than 850 students. While the school board would not provide the final price tag for the building, a spokesperson confirms it's anticipated to come in on budget. Meanwhile, with 770 students enrolled, Turtle Island is already approaching capacity. However, there is still space to grow before portables are added.
So we have room for 3 more classes in our building.
While the library and classrooms are operational, the double gym will not be available for use for a few weeks yet. Still, it seems this grade 7 student was impressed on day 1. So everything meets your expectations?
Everything meets. It actually went up the roof. It's too good to be true.
The public school board building spree is not over. 4 more elementary schools are expected to open over the next 18 months. In Woodstock, Sean Irvin, CTV News.
When we come back, the latest on Canada's medal haul at the Milano Cortina Games. Plus, the athletic excellence from our Olympic women. A look at their success under the brightest spotlights.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We begin tonight with Ontario's latest.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. ctvlondon.ca, your home for news.
Welcome back. Canada's athletes have us sitting just inside the top 10 when it comes to total medals won at these Olympic Games. As Scott Hurst reports, we've now added 3 golds in the last 3 days.
Golden again in the women's team pursuit.
I was so pumped when we won that race.
Valérie Maltais, Yvonne Blondin, and Isabelle Weideman successfully defended their Olympic title today. They won gold 4 years ago at Beijing 2022 and are on top of the podium again.
We've worked so hard for this, and to be returning Olympic champions. Like, it's just a dream come true.
The trio of skaters defended their Olympic gold by outracing the Dutch team by nearly a full second. That after beating the Americans in the semifinal.
There were some really competitive teams out there, and we had, like, everybody had a shot, and we knew that to stand on top, I think we had to skate our best, and that meant focusing on ourselves.
This now gives Canada 3 gold medals, all won in the last 3 days at Milano Cortina. Twice our anthem was played on the slopes, now for the first time at these Olympics at the speed skating track.
Whole lot of emotion, but not emotional, just like really excited and really happy and proud of us.
All 3 skaters are highly decorated as a team and in their individual careers as well. Isabelle Weideman has now won 4 medals through 3 Olympic Games. Yvonne Blondin has won 2 golds and 1 silver through 4 Olympics. For Valérie Maltais, she is just one of 3 Canadian athletes competing in their 5th Olympics. That means she's been a part of every Olympic Winter Games since Vancouver 2010. She has won 4 medals overall. This now pushes our medal count to 12. 3 gold, 4 silver, and 5 bronze. Tomorrow, Canada will play Czechia in the much-anticipated men's hockey quarterfinals. Canada already beat Czechia 5-0 in their first group stage game. Scott Hurst, CTV News, Toronto.
Now, the bulk of Canada's medal haul has come from the Canadian women competing in Italy. Garrett Barry has more on their winning contributions.
Never safe, always daring. It's what got Megan Oldham back to the Olympic Games after heartbreak in Beijing and a serious injury in November.
Definitely was a little bit nervous. It took me a while to kind of overcome those symptoms and then also just the mental battle.
So even when an Olympic championship was secure and Oldham could have simply walked down the hill and received a gold medal, the skier decided instead to try the hardest trick in her book. A switch double 1440 mute grab.
I just really wanted to kind of like cement that like I've put in all this hard work and I want to do it at the big stage. So even on that last run, I was like, I need to go for it just for my soul.
A crash didn't matter. She became one of the latest Canadians to hear "Oh Canada" and pick up an Olympic gold medal. Followed quickly this afternoon by a trio of Canadian skaters who bested the Netherlands in long track speed skating. Isabelle Weideman, Valérie Maltais, and Yvonne Blondin have gone back-to-back, winning a second straight Olympic gold in the women's team pursuit.
The fact that we've trained together and competed together for so long, like we have pushed each other a lot to like take speed skating to the next level.
On the short track, Courtney Sereau took home her 3rd medal and 2nd silver in a 1,000-meter competition Monday afternoon. And she's not done yet. The finals of the 3,000-meter relay go Wednesday night in Milan. And Canadian women have played their way into the gold medal hockey game, setting up a rematch against the United States. Captain Marie-Philippe Poulin scored 2 goals in the semifinal, setting a new Olympic record. She's now scored more goals in Olympic competition than any other woman. Garrett Barry, CTV News, Milan.
City officials say London was in the mix as a potential filming location for the new season of the popular hockey series Heated Rivalry. However, that won't come together, blamed on delays and timing issues. As Rita Ismail reports, local film leaders want faster action from decision makers to attract future projects.
London, Ontario was in the running to host scenes from Heated Rivalry, a popular Canadian series now streaming on Crave. The show, created by Jacob Tierney and based on novels by Rachel Reed, follows 2 professional hockey players in a secret relationship. Instead of filming here in London, producers chose other Ontario cities, including Guelph, where hockey scenes were shot at the Sleeman Centre. Now, city officials say that decision came at a cost.
Big productions like that, I mean, they come with a large economic footprint with them. While they're here, the crew are going to be staying in London hotels. They're going to be spending their per diems here in London. They're going to be eating at local restaurants. They're going to be going to local shops. They might feature local institutions, or, you know, in this example, a local sports team was invited to participate and be a part of the show. And because it ended up being such a popular show, it would be a tourism destination for London.
Dodd says delays in connecting with property owners and institutions made it difficult to secure locations in time.
We have had a couple of opportunities where it's just been kind of tough to get the landowners or the property owners or the right person talking to the locations in a timely manner. That's really key, that we get the right person on a conversation, a call or a Zoom or whatever, as quickly as we can.
More productions are showing interest in London, and Dodd hopes this missed opportunity will serve as a lesson for future projects.
We have a huge variety of different locations, everything from, we can double as a bigger city to a smaller town. We have historic homes that can be period pieces, farmland, village, we have it all. We just want to make sure that when opportunity knocks, that we're able to answer the door.
Rita Esmail, CTV News.
The coldest night of the year fundraiser is coming up later this month, supporting local charities and the people who rely on frontline services. For more on this year's campaign, we're joined live by Lauren Stallone. Lauren, over to you.
Thanks, Carlyle. That's right. Thousands of Canadians are getting ready to leave the warmth and comfort of their home, and all for a good cause. Here to tell us more about it is Shannon Price-Hines, a local organizer with the coldest night of the year. Shannon, tell us, for anyone who hasn't come out to the event before, what is the night going to look like, and what is it all for?
Well, we're going to have a great night. Hopefully a little bit warmer than tonight, but if not, we'll make it through. Coldest night of the year is the annual fundraising walk for Mission Services of London. So we use this event to raise awareness and funds for people who are experiencing or may be at risk for homelessness.
Mm-hmm. And why is that important specifically for the City of London and the need for that?
As you've seen this winter, it's been very cold outside, right? So we want to make sure that we have programs and services in place at Mission Services London to help people who are out in the cold, and we can make sure that we have, great programs for the shelters.
And can you talk a little bit about the route that you'll be walking here in the city?
Absolutely. So we're going to start over at 525 Dundas, which is HB Beale Secondary School. So we're going to do 2.5 kilometers or a 5-kilometer walk. So the 5-kilometer walk is just going to be 2 loops of the 2.5.
Awesome. And where can people go to register, to support, and all of that good stuff?
So there is a website, and it's cnoy.org/London Downtown. And when you get there, you have the choice to participate as a walker, or you can donate if you don't want to walk with us, or you can also volunteer as a volunteer, or you can also get to be a volunteer by registering there.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. I'll send it back to you, Carlyle.
Lauren Stallone live for us tonight. Thank you, Lauren. Julie's with me now. And what a transition, because we're talking weather and forecast that has been, I would say, lovely the last couple days. We've had some sunshine, milder temperatures, which have been a nice change. However, things are changing as we get into tomorrow, it sounds like.
Absolutely. With the mild temperatures comes the fog, though, and we've had to deal with that.
In the mornings,
Yeah, we've had numerous bus cancellations this morning, of course, with the dense fog that's been in place. This time of year, we tend to see an inversion set up when we see a system come in with some warmer air, and then as the melt happens at the surface, we get the colder temperatures near the ground, and that keeps that fog from mixing out. Now, we do have widespread watches and warnings to talk about tonight. Our system that's coming in is a mild one, and you can see the freezing rain warning in effect, the freezing rain potentially starting overnight, but it looks like the main area of moisture will hold off until the morning. It was extremely mild today. We hit a high of 6 degrees, normally this time of year at -1. Outside right now, we're still on the positive side at +3 in the winds out of the east-northeast, but under 10 kilometers per hour. Big area of low pressure just getting organized. Lots of weather across Canada tonight, but our weather system will be coming in from the central and southern plains. The low pressure area right now organizing itself over the Dakotas. We have an area of rain in advance with this warm front that will be approaching. Western Canada, widespread watches and warnings in effect tonight as well, dealing with some heavy snowfall, blowing snow and freezing rain across the prairies. So winter has made a comeback out west. We've been on the mild side. However, the mild temperatures will be holding this week, but next week we're going to shift gears once again. Let's get to this weather system that's coming into our area tomorrow. So tonight, will dip down between 0 and -1 in most areas. We'll have a few colder spots at about -3. As we head into the morning hours, this first push of moisture will start to come in with the milder air. So what's going to happen is as temperatures drop near that freezing mark overnight, we see this warm air start to try and push its way in. However, temperatures will hold around 0 to +1 in most areas. Now watch on the forecast model. You can see the pink, that's the freezing rain, and on the northern side of that, that's the snowfall. Starting as a little bit of light rainfall in London, but look how close London is to this freezing rain. Just outside of London, ice accretion could see anywhere from 10, I mentioned 5 to 10 millimeters. In London, potential of ice accretion about 2 to 4 millimeters. As we head towards the southwest, Windsor, Chatham, Sarnia, you'll be into the rainfall. As we head toward Huron County, we're expecting freezing rain, and Perth County as well, freezing rain. We could see an extensive area of freezing rain, Oxford County, Perth County, as we head through Waterloo, Wellington. The drive from London to Toronto tomorrow will not be a pleasant one. Avoid that non-essential travel, especially when we're expecting those roads to be icing over. Gusty winds out of the east, 30 with gusts of 50. That means if we see those power lines get coated in ice, those wind gusts come in, we could see some power outages. We'll have some snowfall in and around the GTA. North of Toronto, we will see snowfall amounts piling up close to about 10 to 15 centimeters of snow. So this system really packing a punch. Now London on the fringe of the freezing rain. West of London, areas like Camoka, Strathroy, you'll likely just see rain, but areas just east of London will be picking up the freezing rain. London, rain to freezing rain as we head through the early part of the day. Gusty winds out of the east, upwards of 50 kilometers per hour. High temperature +1. 3 degrees on Thursday and cloudy drizzle. The main system will be through our area by Wednesday evening. So Wednesday in the morning, that's when we're really expecting things to get dicey out there. Friday, we have rain in the forecast. Saturday, flurries and snow on Sunday. Temperatures drop back down next week, -4. Monday into Tuesday. Midwestern Ontario, this will be a freezing rain mainly event for you. Possibility of mixing with ice pellets. We could see some snow, especially towards Grey County. So you can really see as the system comes in, it brings a mix of weather to southern Ontario. Again, hopefully I've broken it down enough for you, but freezing rain risk tomorrow in London, east and northeast of London, south towards the southwest, just rain. And again, Carlyle, something else to note with the melt on, this is going to lead to flooding conditions in low-lying areas, the extra moisture around. So please check your latest watershed, especially if you're in one of those communities. We are expecting some of that ice to be breaking up as well. So ice jams will become an issue. So weather system, mild temperatures, freezing rain tomorrow, gusty winds, and it will impact your drive tomorrow, especially as you head out for the day.
All right, Julie, thanks very much. When we come back, battery-powered fire risks, the concern from firefighters when lithium-ion devices ignite. Firefighters in the Toronto area are warning about an increase in recent fires started by lithium-ion batteries. They're used in many household devices, but as Pat Foran reports, many recent fires appear connected to e-bikes and scooters.
We've done stories on lithium-ion battery fires involving toy cars, smartphones on airplanes, and e-bikes in the subway system. As lithium-ion batteries are being used in more devices, more fires are happening. Aviva Insurance just issued a warning.
When they do overheat, they smoke, they can explode, and the fires burn very, very hot and spread very, very quickly.
The insurance company says there has been a 162% increase in this type of fire over the past 2 years. Toronto Fire Services says there were 90 lithium-ion battery fires last year, and there were 11 in January.
We're absolutely seeing an increase year over year.
Almost half of the fires so far this year have been connected to micro-mobility devices, e-bikes and e-scooters.
We often see users tampering with batteries to try to increase the length of power, the duration of the battery, and also the speed at which the e-bike or e-hoverboard scooter can actually travel at.
We have seen a rise in lithium-ion battery fires.
York Region says while the batteries are in many devices in the home, most fires have been caused by items charging inside garages.
80% of those fires have been residential garage fires involving batteries.
When lithium-ion batteries fail, they may smoke, hiss, and expand. Once they enter something called thermal runaway, they can explode, releasing toxic smoke and chemicals, and reach temperatures of 400 degrees Celsius. To avoid battery fires, always follow the manufacturer's instructions, only use batteries designed for the device, and charging cords that came with the product. Store batteries away from flammable items and avoid excessive charging. You should never tamper with a battery. Don't allow them to charge overnight. An old or damaged battery should be disposed of at municipal recycling centers. Pat Foran, CTV News.
A new survey suggests Canadians are increasingly concerned about their retirement plans because of the cost of living. The survey was carried out by BMO, which found nearly 75% of respondents expressed uncertainty about their retirement prospects. 66% of respondents said inflation is impacting their ability to save and invest for retirement. Canada's main stock index was weighed down by losses in the base metals sector and energy stocks. The TSX fell 177 points. In New York, the Dow and the Nasdaq each gained 32 points. The Canadian dollar dropped 1/5 of a cent. On commodity markets, gold is down $140 an ounce. Oil lost 49 cents a barrel. Later on CTV News, remembering Jesse Jackson, his career and legacy, fighting for civil rights in America. Welcome back. The provincial government has announced 30 new appointments to the Order of Ontario. One of them is a Western University professor, Amanda Grizib. Her focus is in genocide studies, including the Holocaust and civil unrest in El Salvador. Other notable honorees include the CEO of the Toronto International Film Festival, Cameron Bailey, former NHL coach and TV personality Don Cherry, and the chairman of Rogers, Edward Rogers. According to a government release, the recipients are celebrated for their remarkable achievements and lasting contributions to Ontario. Canadian border agents say they seized more than 250 kilograms of meth at the Blue Water Bridge. They say 16 duffel bags were found inside a commercial truck trailer earlier this month, and a 29-year-old from Woodstock now faces various charges. A Labour Ministry investigation has been launched after 3 workers were injured in a building collapse near Hamilton. According to police, a concrete porch in Stony Creek collapsed, trapping the workers underneath. Police say they were rescued, though, and all taken to hospital. None of the injuries are considered life-threatening. The mother of a young Tumbler Ridge shooting survivor says her daughter is responding as she recovers in hospital. A 12-year-old is in critical condition at Vancouver's Children's Hospital. She reportedly tried to lock the door of the school's library as the shooter approached before she was injured. A GoFundMe for the little girl has raised more than $430,000. Meanwhile, portables are arriving in Tumbler Ridge, allowing students to return to school. They're being put together on the grounds of a nearby elementary school. The RCMP announced their investigation at the high school was completed last week, turning that property back over to school authorities.
Hey, and welcome back to another week of KP's Pet Rescue, where we're going to meet Ruth, who's arriving in style in a 2026 Sportage from London's Airport Kia. This is Ruth. She is the sweetest girl. She's 9 years old. She's a mini pinscher. Her backstory, pretty sad. So she was a backyard breeder. She had a lot of litters and then was just discarded. She's with an incredible foster home right now, and now she's looking for the perfect, loving family. She does have a tumor, so she has a mammary tumor. It doesn't slow her down, though. So she, again, is full of life, loves her walks, loves playing, loves other dogs. She's 12 pounds of pure snuggles, and if she is your dream dog, or maybe you know someone who would love to adopt her, you can always follow Happy's on socials. They have tons of adoptable seniors that are looking for their perfect forever home.
If you're interested in adopting, visit happysplace.ca for more information. Special thanks to London's Airport Kia for sponsoring KP's Pet Rescue. Dense fog in parts of our region today, low visibility. Thank you to Rhonda Sutherland for capturing the fog in Newbury. A big weather system inbound as we head through the overnight cloudy conditions and rain arrives. Risk of freezing rain in a variety of weather watches and warnings in effect in southern Ontario as a wintry mix sets to invade for our Wednesday. Temperatures will stay on the mild side as we head through the week, but colder air returns next week.
American civil rights activist Jesse Jackson has died. Jackson was a Baptist minister who worked closely with Martin Luther King Jr. He also ran for the Democratic presidential nomination twice. In a statement, Jackson's family described him as a servant leader, not only to our family, but to the oppressed, the voiceless, and the overlooked around the world. His family say the 84-year-old died peacefully, surrounded by loved ones.
He reminded us that, the border didn't separate the difficulties that faced oppressed peoples. And that was part of the reason that he worked on alliances. He worked on both Operation Push, People United to Save Humanity, as well as the Rainbow Coalition, to find a way to address issues from the ground up, issues that affect racialized people, youth, justice issues, faith-based issues, in order to make things better for us all. And I think he did a great job of that.
A London-based musician has released a new song celebrating a fellow Londoner about to embark on a mission to the moon. With more on her connection to Jeremy Hansen and what the song means to her, here's John Venavalley-Rao.
Where's my equal life? London, Ontario-based singer-songwriter M. Greiner is a Juno nominee who's released plenty of songs over the last 3 decades. And of her latest track, you could say she's over the moon about the subject matter.
There's an astronaut going into space, the only Canadian on this moon mission. I'm reaching out to touch the sky.
Greiner performing this song she co-wrote and produced with other Canadians called Touch the Sky. It celebrates Jeremy Hansen and his lifelong dream to go to the moon, which is perhaps weeks away from reality.
For Jeremy to be going potentially deeper into space than humans have gone before and to be the first Canadian to do so, it's just really magical,
Greiner, who's friends with Hansen's wife, had been working on the song since last April.
I really wanted it to be a feel-good anthem.
The song's video not only explores the Artemis mission ahead, but also shows how Hansen, as a child, grew up on a farm and set a goal to go to the moon. The director thrilled to tell his story.
I'm a big fan of space too, so this just really resonates with me in so many levels.
Greiner is no stranger to working with astronauts. In the past, she's collaborated with Chris Hadfield, helping him with a version of David Bowie's Space Oddity. This is ground control to Major Tom, which he famously performed on the International Space Station. And now she'd like Canadians to cheer on Hansen as he gets ready to blast off with 3 Americans.
I'm hoping that people kind of can go along with his dream and maybe feel inspired to follow theirs.
A song she also calls a love letter to Canada as Hansen prepares to take the nation on a voyage to remember. John Venavalley-Rao, CTV News, Toronto.
London's top stories.
We have breaking news tonight out of Ottawa. The latest in the
breaking news alerts.
I'm tracking an area of severe weather. It'll start.
And watch live.
A development now to a story from City Hall we brought you.
Download the CTV News app.
Before we go tonight, Julie Atchison back on the desk with me now, and we're joined by Lauren Stallone, who's back from Coldest Night of the Year. And Lauren, the viral trend we are talking about this week, it involves something going on our faces.
That's right, under eye patches. Have either one of you used these before?
Not me, no.
All right, we're going to give it a try, and we're going to put them on. But before we get to that, I want to talk about how popular it is on social media, like you mentioned, Carlyle. Influencers are really getting into them. They're trying them out with different colors. They come with different designs. Some have glitter, flowers colors, all the things. So it's really fun to wear. They're also going on social media and reviewing their favorite types. We've also seen the world's biggest celebrities, Harry Styles and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has even tried these out. So it's really fun. But I wanted to get an understanding of if these actually work and what they're really doing. So I spoke with Melissa Rossi, a local esthetician. Now, she says they hydrate underneath your eye, a spot that is usually or can be dry. They smooth fine lines, removes dark circles, and even improves makeup application. So this is something that anyone can really use and give it a go. I also wanted to get her opinion on how social media has shaped the way that we view skincare and what we may have learned from social media. So here's what she had to say.
Social media plays a huge role right now. I find in the skincare trends, platforms like TikTok, Instagram, they can really take a product, ingredient, or treatment and make it go viral overnight, which is crazy. But with that, there can be some challenges. If they're promoting a product or an ingredient or a treatment that maybe is not good for your skin and you're trying it, this can lead to a damaged or compromised skin barrier. So I always suggest it's best to seek out a professional, and that's what's most important. However, I do think that the role that it plays in social media is also a good thing because it is helpful for awareness. And it's making people want to take care of their skin, which I also think is great.
First impressions, these are moist.
Yeah. They're really wet, these ones. They're super soapy.
I feel like my eyes they're so close to my eyes. My eyes are going to start watering maybe a little bit
Does it feel
lower.
cool? Does it have that cooling effect?
I'm definitely getting like the cooling sensation. Like sometimes we have like the lip balms that have that for your lips as well. It kind of feels like that's under my eyes right now.
The perfect way to unwind after the newscast, right?
For sure. Yeah. Lovely.
I think these would be perfect too if you've had
Julie's like watering up. I can see that.
I'm sorry. If you haven't had a lot of sleep or you are, suffering that one day you need a little bit of a lift or like a pick-me-up around your eyes, that might work.
And you got to make sure it works for your skin, right? Everyone is different, so.
Nice little color pop.
Exactly. Yeah, it's fun.
All right. Well, thanks very much, Julie and Lauren. That is Behind the Likes. For all of us here at CTV News, thanks for watching. Have a good night.